Hello and welcome to this session. In this session, aligned with Learning Outcome LO3, understand research studies relating to social psychological theories of aggression, we will explore how social environments influence aggressive behavior. The session examines key research studies within social psychology that explain the development and expression of aggression. By analyzing these studies, we will gain insight into how social factors such as learning, authority, group dynamics, and situational pressures contribute to aggressive behavior. Together, these findings reveal the complexity of human behavior and the powerful role of the social environment. The Bobo doll studies by Bandura et al. In 1961 focused on observational learning. Children observed adults behaving aggressively towards a doll. The study revealed that children imitated these behaviors. It highlighted the role of imitation in learning aggression. However, it raised ethical concerns about exposing children to aggression. Zimbardo's Stanford prison experiment in 1973 examined situational influences. Participants assumed roles of guards and prisoners. The study showed how social roles can foster aggression. It faced criticism for ethical issues and lack of informed consent. Despite this, it provided insights into power dynamics and behavior. Mann's study on baiting crowds in 1981 explored crowd dynamics. It investigated how crowds encouraged individuals to jump during suicide attempts. The study highlighted de-individuation and diffusion of responsibility. Ethical concerns were raised due to the sensitive nature of the topic. It also faced challenges in replicating real-world conditions. Barron and Bell in 1976 studied the influence of temperature on aggression. They found that high temperatures increased aggression. The study used a controlled experimental design. However, isolating temperature effects from other variables was challenging. The findings may not apply to all forms of aggression. Berkowitz and LePage in 1967 explored weapons as aggression cues. They found that the presence of weapons can trigger aggressive responses. The study highlighted the impact of environmental stimuli on behavior. However, its generalizability to non-laboratory settings was limited. Ethical concerns were noted regarding the use of aggressive cues. Lagerspetz et al. In 1988 studied gender differences in aggression. They found indirect aggression to be more common in females. The study provided insights into the nature of aggression among children. However, its findings may not generalize to other age groups. Cultural differences in aggression also affect its generalizability. Dollard et al. In 1939 proposed the frustration-aggression hypothesis. They suggested that frustration leads to aggression. The study contributed a theoretical framework for understanding aggression. However, it was criticized for oversimplifying aggression to frustration. Individual differences were not adequately considered. Anderson and Dill in 2000 studied violent video games and aggression. They found a link between game exposure and aggressive thoughts. The study used an experimental design to assess causal relationships. Ethical concerns arose from exposing participants to violent content. Generalizing findings to real-world behaviors was challenging. Gergen's review in 1971 discussed social psychological perspectives. It emphasized social processes in shaping aggression. The review provided a broad overview of aggression theories. However, it lacked empirical research and focused on theoretical perspectives. This limited its direct application to specific studies. Correct. Bushman and Anderson in 2002 tested the general aggression model. They examined how violent video games influence hostile expectations. The study applied the model to understand cognitive processes. Ethical concerns were raised about exposure to violent content. Isolating video game effects from other factors was challenging. Evaluating these studies requires considering ecological validity. Generalizability and ethical considerations are also crucial. These studies contribute to understanding the social psychology of aggression. Recognizing their limitations is important for nuanced interpretation. Each study offers unique insights into aggressive behavior. Understanding key terminology is essential in aggression research. Terms like de-individuation and diffusion of responsibility are pivotal. These concepts help explain crowd behavior and aggression. Environmental stressors and observational learning are also important. Familiarity with these terms aids in grasping study findings. Observational learning is a core concept in aggression studies. It explains how individuals learn behaviors by observing others. Bandura's Bobo doll studies are a prime example. This concept shows the power of imitation in learning aggression. Its implications extend to media influence on behavior. Situational factors play a significant role in aggression. Zimbardo's Stanford prison experiment highlighted this. Social roles and power dynamics can foster aggressive behavior. Understanding these factors helps in managing aggression. They reveal the influence of environment on individual actions. Crowd behavior studies explore collective aggression. Mann's research on baiting crowds is notable. De-individuation explains how anonymity can lead to aggression. Diffusion of responsibility reduces individual accountability. These concepts are crucial for understanding crowd dynamics. Environmental stressors impact aggressive behavior. Barron and Bell's study on temperature effects is key. High temperatures were linked to increased aggression. These findings highlight the role of physical environment. Understanding stressors aids in managing aggressive tendencies. Gender differences in aggression are significant. Lagerspetz et al. Explored indirect aggression in females. Understanding these differences aids in targeted interventions. Cultural factors also influence gender-based aggression. Research in this area continues to evolve. The frustration-aggression hypothesis links frustration to aggression. Dollard et al. Propose this theory. It provides a framework for understanding aggressive responses. However, it oversimplifies the causes of aggression. Individual differences are also important to consider. Media influence on aggression is widely studied. Anderson and Dill examined violent video games. The findings show a link to aggressive thoughts. Ethical concerns arise from media exposure. Understanding media effects is crucial for addressing aggression. In conclusion, the evidence presented in the video highlights the multifaceted nature of aggression, demonstrating that it cannot be attributed to a single cause. Drawing on key social psychological theories, the studies discussed show how biological predispositions, social learning, situational influences, and cognitive processes interact to shape aggressive behavior. Recognizing this complexity is essential, as it allows for a more informed and effective approach to managing and reducing aggression in real-world settings, including educational, social, and organizational contexts. If you need any help, just WhatsApp 0748436168. Our team is always ready to assist. Thank you for your attention, and we look forward to seeing you in the next session.